Hey TikTok, this is Gary Hamilton, your conspiracy scientist. If you subscribe to the fact that we are energy and energy never dies, and most scientists would agree with that, let me ask you a question before we begin this video. Do you think it would be valuable information to know the choices you have after physical death? Well, allow me to introduce you to a man who spent over 30 years researching that very question. Robert Monroe was born on October 30th, 1915 and died on March 17th, 1995. He was an American radio broadcasting executive who became known for his ideas about altered states of consciousness and for founding the Monroe Institute, which continues to promote those ideas. These are the 3 books he wrote during his lifetime. If you have time to read one, make it The Ultimate Journey. While doing your research, you will find out that the CIA declassified his Gateway papers in 2003. The CIA used his research to develop a program called remote viewing that allowed them to spy and get information from other countries. As per the report, the universe is a complex system of interacting energy fields in which states are simply variations in energy. Human consciousness is no different. It's just a vibrational pattern of energy. Once hemisync is achieved, the report says, it can trigger an altered state of consciousness in which the vibration of a person's consciousness is free from physical reality and tunes into this pure energy field. Drawing on ideas of quantum entanglement, the report claims it may be possible for human consciousness to profoundly alter the universe, since reality is holographic projection. Part encodes the whole. In this understanding of reality, everything is deeply connected in a matrix of interconnected energy vibrations, from your consciousness to the depths of the universe. Now, why would it be profoundly important to know these choices?
When you die, on your deathbed, you will receive total consciousness. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
Now, it was during one of his out-of-body experiences where he was able to finally get these answers. I'm going to let him explain it in his words. This is the end of chapter 17 in his book, Ultimate Journey. I'm going to read it because the print is way too small to read. Here we go. Remember, this was during one of his out-of-body experiences. Before me was the park. It was the same as when I had visited many years ago, with winding walks, benches, flowers, and shrubbery, different colored green lawns, clusters of stately trees, small streams and mountains, and with a warm sun overhead among small cumulus clouds. The park continued on a gently rolling terrain as far as I could see. As I walked down the slope to the nearest bench, I wondered what human mind or group of humans put this together. It was a magnificent creation for a lowly human, yet I knew this was the way it had come into existence. But I had not thought of such things on my previous visit those years ago. Now I remembered. I knew why it was here. A woman rose from the bench as I approached. She was of medium height, slender, with large brown eyes and dark brown, slightly wavy hair down to her shoulders. Her face was smooth and lightly tanned, with features that seemed to have touches of the Orient, the Middle East, and Europe. She was wearing dark slacks and a hip-length jacket. Her age might be anything between 35 and 50. She was familiar. I had met her somewhere before. She smiled and held out her hand. "At last you are here. Welcome back, Ashanine." Ashanine? My name. Remembered from another lifetime. It told me a lot about her. I took her hand, which was real enough to feel. She led me to the bench, and we sat down. Other people strolled by, all of them adults, wearing a variety of clothing. Some glanced curiously at us. I wondered why, until I realized that there was a subtle difference that they could perceive between my appearance and theirs. I caught the woman's eye, and she smiled again. A half-memory floated in. "This jacket you're wearing." "I was wearing it the last time you were here. I thought it might help you to remember." I nodded. But my memory was hazy. She was among the dozen people I had met last time. That I was sure of. I looked at her and saw that she was smiling. Could she read my thoughts? Yes, of course I can. And you can read mine. Well, who are you? I'm only the messenger. I am to tell you that you may, by all means, bring people to us. Those who are newly physically dead, we will take care of them. That is why we are here. And you may teach others to do this. How can I teach something that will seem so strange. We are sure you can. Many of them are probably doing it now. All you need to do is help them remember. It's a wholly objective way to remove the fear of physical death and let them know they do survive the death process. Certainly. Also, it would help them become aware of the many options that they have. There are many even you have not considered, Ashanine. Or would you prefer we call you Robert? Robert or Bob, please. My physical friends call me Bob. The name Ashanine might trouble them. Some may know you by the old name. I'm going to give you a recap of this. He had traveled to this Focus 27 park before, and he had asked an entity that he was having the out-of-body experience with because he had met a lot of lost souls on his way there, and he didn't know if he should try to help them or what. So he was troubled with that for a long time until he got back there. And that is what that conversation was about. And now I'm going to go on to the next page. Now, before I start, I just want to tell you how important this is, because this could save you a very, very long time stuck in purgatory after you die. I am becoming aware of that. And I'm trying to recall your name. You are the wife of Elion. Yes, Elion. Mate is a better word. You are Nevis. Good. Now, I need some help. The places I have visited, where my friends were, they are simply extensions of here, are they? That is so. But if they have a strong belief, they will follow that directive and go where that belief leads them. There will be others of the same belief waiting there to help them. You let them go and leave them alone. That is where they belong. But all this is just another belief, is it? Nevis laughed. Not in the usual sense. There are no beliefs involved, only experience. The design here is only to provide a familiar surrounding to ease the anxiety. This place, then, it is a creation that is here and will be here, whatever your beliefs. It will not disappear if you don't believe it exists. Well, who made it? A human civilization many thousands of years ago. They have been gone long since. Is there anything more you need to know? What about those who simply want or need to return to what I have called their I there? I'm sure you understand what I mean. Okay, I'm going to interrupt here for a second so that you understand what the I there is. Bob's perception of the I there is all these lifetimes that you've lived, they eventually meet up in this Focus 27 at this park or beyond. Our goal is we're fragmented from all of them. We go there, and once we meet up with all of our other past lives, then we go as one from there. So this is what the I there is. It is a collective of all of your lives, and how important each one of your lives is to the collective is what this is all about. In fact, then all of those are part of a bigger, it just keeps going. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about the I there. Now I'm going to get back to the book. I do understand that is the destination of most who depart from here. So when we bring people here, calm them down and give them the opportunity to consider what they want to do next. That is so. We show them what opportunities do exist. The park is but a starting point. You will be astounded when you see all of the little individual places that residents have created. Are there rules? Only one. No imposition of one's will upon another. Thank you for your help. I have much to do, it seems. You will find it easier than you think, Bob. This knowledge of here, of where we go at death, where to meet, this knowledge before the event, it gives ultimate freedom. Now, I just want to say before I move on to the next page, it is at this point that you should realize, if this resonates with you, just how important this message is. I also want you to keep in mind what a maverick Robert Monroe was. He was a graduate of The Ohio State as a sound engineer, and he realized how important sound frequency was and what kind of different states it can put you in by syncing both hemispheres of your brain together. And he was able to come up with a formula. Okay, I realize you all want options because people like options. We're starting chapter 18 and we're going to get to it very shortly, I promise. I also hope you understand how critical this information is, because it could save lifetimes. And that is why I recap each page. And if it's not going fast enough for you, well, it's better than waiting a couple of 100 years in purgatory, don't you think? Chapter 18, The New Direction. Now that I knew what had to be done, one further question arose. How could I organize all that I had experienced into such a shape that it could be absorbed and put into practice by others? Not only that, how could those experiences, which for me had stretched over years, be compressed into a time frame which others would find practical and appropriate? This was not a process that could be established by trial and error, for what we were shortly to be handling was quite literally a matter of life and death. It had to be as nearly right as possible the first time, and events in my personal life were telling me that there was little time to spare. But I was fortunate, or perhaps it was not good fortune, but the fulfillment or completion of a design begun more than 3 decades ago when we first commenced research into human consciousness, for at my disposal I had all the resources of our institute, which for many years had shown that it was possible to bring individuals right up to the transitional point between physical life and death, and enable some of them, at least, to see into the beyond, that our procedures were safe, and that our participants benefited enormously, and in many ways had been proved beyond doubt. My left brain told me that 2 things were needed. The first was research into the frequencies of brainwaves translated into sound that would permit the individual's mind consciousness to travel safely beyond the transitional point and to return when the task was complete. The second was a program that would be suitable and effective for the whole variety of people who might be attracted by the prospect of service to those no longer in physical existence. So with my closest colleagues, I set to work. The simplest thing was to find a title for the program. Lifeline. The first Lifeline program took place at the Institute during the week beginning June 22nd, 1991. In the following 14 months, some 200 people participated in the 6-day intensive learning process. Among those attending were physicians, psychologists, engineers, researchers, business executives, psychiatrists, writers, attorneys, educators, therapists, musicians, and artists. All were graduates of at least one previous institute program, as this was a prerequisite for attendance at Lifeline. Apart from that, they represented widely divergent backgrounds, interests, lifestyles, and previous experiences with the exploration of consciousness. Yet, at the end of each program, almost all attested to their ability to visit the reception center and the park. Many also acknowledged that they now knew for certain that they would survive the physical death process. I was indeed surprised that it was clear that the process could be taught. Following the first session, I had reasoned that the phenomena reported might possibly have been unique to that particular group. The reports from the second session might again possibly be coincidental. With the third session, however, it really did seem as if the process were viable. 10 sessions later, I do not see how there can be any doubt we have been able to accomplish what we set out to do. Lifeline is designed to be effective without respect to any specific belief held by the individual participant, and to instill knowledge through direct experience. It is a know system, KNOW, and does not of itself negate any currently held beliefs with the possible exception of nihilism. The program has certain goals. These are to release all fears related to the physical death process. Number 2, to establish a familiarity with different states of consciousness until these states become knowns instead of beliefs. To generate ongoing communication and relationships with other human minds active in other states of consciousness. To incorporate such acquired knowledge both consciously and at the non-conscious level into physical life thought, functions, and activity. To ensure upon the cessation of physical life existence, for whatever reason, that such knowledgeable human mind consciousness will shift without interruption to other forms of existence. And in my opinion, what does this mean? It means the show goes on, baby. The means by which these goals are achieved is by development and extension of the methods and techniques that have been evolved and refined at the Institute over many years. One of the hallmarks of these methods and techniques is the use of the term focus level to indicate and identify in a convenient and easily understood way a particular state of consciousness. Hitherto, programs had taken participants through Focus 3, mind-brain synchrony, Focus 10, mind awake and alert, body asleep, Focus 12, state of expanded awareness, Focus 15, state of no time, Focus 21, the edge of time-space where it is possible to contact other energy systems. Now, in pursuit of the program's theme of service to those who have died, it was necessary to venture beyond. To help our participants, we needed to identify in a similar way those states beyond 21 to which they would be introduced and where they would be able to act calmly and objectively. We did so as follows. Focus 22, where humans still in physical existence have only partial consciousness. In this state would be those suffering from delirium, from chemical dependency or alcoholism, or from dementia. It would also include patients who were anesthetized or comatose. Experiences here might be remembered as dreams or hallucinations. Focus 23, a level inhabited by those who have recently left physical existence but who either have not been able to recognize and accept this or are unable to free themselves from the ties of the Earth life system. It includes those from all periods of time. I'm sorry I have to interject here, but this symbolizes just how crucial this information is, because in other parts of this book, he meets people born 200-300 years ago. So that's what I'm saying. This information could be huge if his theories are correct, which it either resonates with you or it doesn't. But if it does, you'll be very glad you know what to do. Now we'll return to the different focus levels. Focus levels 24 through 26. This covers the belief system territories occupied by non-physical humans from all periods and areas who have accepted and subscribed to various premises and concepts. These would include religious and philosophical beliefs that postulate some form of post-physical existence. Focus 27. Here is the site of what we may call the reception center or the park, which is the hub of it. This is an artificial synthesis created by human minds, a way station designed to ease the trauma and shock of the transition out of physical reality. It takes on the form of various Earth environments in order to be acceptable to the enormously wide variety of newcomers. Focus 28, beyond not only time-space, but human thought. Residence in 28 or beyond limits any return to a physical human body. Sorry, just an observation here. I wonder who didn't come back to their physical body once they saw 28 or, reported back and then wasn't able to get back to their body. But it's good to know. Those who are trained in the Lifeline system become familiar and comfortable with these different states. This is a very cool part. Each individual is invited to create his own personal and special place within Focus 27, a place to which he may return at will. The forms that these places take are as varied and unique as the participants themselves, ranging, for example, from log cabins by quiet streams to clumps of trees, South Sea Islands, palaces of crystal, and corners of one's heart. Return to one's place in Focus 27 is facilitated by the use of a personal identification signal code, self-chosen symbol or representation which the individual creates and installs. It functions as a kind of resonant homing device to guide the individual back. And unlike Earth, we will actually be able to do our creating. What it sounds like to me. Once participants are familiar with the range of focus levels, they are advised how to assist those no longer in physical existence who need help. They phase gradually into Focus 27, and there they may ask for help and guidance for themselves. Then they return to Focus 23, sometimes accompanied by a guide or helper, where they may be attracted to a situation in which their assistance is needed in order for someone to move onward. It may be that someone refuses to accept the fact of his or her physical death, or is unwilling to let go owing to some perceived gain from continuing to be attached to the physical. The participant seeks to communicate with this individual, encouraging him to release and move onward. If this encouragement is successful, as it often is, the two, perhaps accompanied by the guide, move together toward Focus 27, On the way, some individuals will slip away into one of the belief system territories of Focus 24 through 26, where they will be welcomed by those of their own particular creed or faith. Others will continue to the reception center in Focus 27, where they may be greeted by loved ones no longer in physical existence. Here, they have the opportunity to be counseled as to the next step to take along the path to growth. In regard to this next step, several options are available to the new arrivals. Among them, the following. So here you go. These are the options you've been waiting to hear. 1. Reunion with loved ones who have previously made the transition. 2. Communication with those who are still alive in the physical state. 3. Renewal of contact and return to the original self, the I there, which is what most people do. Return to experience another Earth human life. I have to interrupt here. What I'm thinking is this is what they mean by free will. You have a choice in this matter. Now, the fact that they erase your memory and you got to start all over, that's a tough pill to swallow. To go on another run on the Earth life system. I mean, currently, do you believe that the life you're living and have lived is exactly how you chose it and this is what you wanted? I don't think that you could say that. I'm pretty sure that most people can't say absolutely to that question. 5. Meeting the discussion with those of the same belief, which may involve departure to that belief system territory. 6. Assuming temporarily the retrieving role. You go grab the lost souls and escort them to Focus 27. Time for a quick recap. What I'm thinking is, most everyone seems to me like they will make it to level 27 eventually, and most of them probably do it in a timely fashion. These are just some of the people that are, really stuck. But I can tell you this, the more knowledge you have as far as what's really going on in this realm, the easier time you're going to have getting to Focus 27, I believe. These are just my own personal thoughts. I can't prove it. That's what resonates with me. So if you're caught up in all the Earth crap and the mainstream media and all that, then yeah, you're probably prone to being lost out there, just like you are here. Okay, we're going to get back to a couple more choices here. Here are the last two after physical death choices you will have. Assuming physical life activity in other forms, non-human, at other sites elsewhere in this universe. Participating in studies and exploration of other phases of the consciousness continuum. When the decision is made, the individual is free to move along the chosen path. One further element in the process needs to be mentioned. Lifeline participants are encouraged to seek as much information as they can from the subjects of their retrievals. By this are meant personal details such as name, age, address, or state or country of origin, date and cause of death, road accident, illness, natural disaster, warfare, and so on, occupation, and any other details that may seem relevant. Communication is generally nonverbal and often by means of a rote. R-O-T-E. It's a ball of thought. It can just be downloaded immediately to your consciousness. Where the information received is sufficiently full, it is passed later to the Lifeline Research Department, which sets a process of verifications or validation in motion. In most instances, it has not so far proved possible to obtain enough of this kind of information to make the effort worthwhile. This type of formal questioning is often inappropriate to the circumstances of the retrieval. But on a few occasions, enough information has become available for secure verifications to be made. A person of that name, age, and place died in that manner at that time. For most participants, this does not matter. They are so convinced of the reality of this process that they are not concerned about this kind of checking. The Institute, however, feels that it is important for this to happen. Although once 20 or 30 instances have been verified, there would seem little purpose in looking for more. Participants in this program sometimes make contact in Focus 23 with someone they recognize, a relative or friend who died recently and who recognizes them also. When this happens, there is a noticeable difference in the feeling of the encounter, much like the difference between walking into a room of strangers and walking into a room where one is surprised to find a sister or brother. Recognition is immediate, and there is a heightening of the energy in the exchanges which follow. More often, the participants are drawn to someone whom they have never met before. It may be someone from a different culture or epoch of time, of any age, color, or creed. What surprises many participants, however, is that while they are engaged in their mission, they discover that at the same time they are retrieving lost parts of themselves. These may appear as past life selves who remained in Focus 23. Some are found who settled in the belief system territories of Focus 24 through 26, and who had begun, through gradual doubt of the beliefs they once had held, to fall through the cracks, as it were, of that particular system. Others may appear as fragments of current life personalities, aspects which had fled or been torn away from the core self. For example, child selves who had escaped from the trauma and pain of physical or emotional abuse in their families and now seek to be reunited. The guidance that may be requested in Focus 27 manifests according to our participants in many different forms. It may appear externally or sensed internally. It may be constant through all the experiences or may change from time to time. Reports include mention of a glowing white shape, an individual called Sam, a hooded figure who revealed himself as a famous film star, a little dog, the color blue, a human hand, and voices saying, "We are here." Some participants do not see guidance as separate from themselves in any way. Guidance and I are one, as one report says. At this point, I must make it clear that a very large number accept their transition without difficulty and are not to be found in Focus 23. This number includes those who have prepared themselves beforehand, or been prepared by others, so that they may easily sever their ties with the Earth life system, as well as those who are strongly fortified by their beliefs. They move past Focus 23 on their own accord to Focus 24 through 26 and 27 or beyond. The denizens of Focus 23 vary as much as humanity itself. Setting aside those who are known to their retrievers, they are reported as originating from anywhere in the world. A few who have been waiting for 2 or 3 centuries or more, but most have left physical existence quite recently, during the last 20 or 30 years. Many of them were victims of accidents or natural or man-made disasters, and sudden deaths figure frequently. For the most part, they are ready and willing to leave, although some show concern about loved ones, relatives, or comrades and refuse to depart until they are reunited or reassured. So, after your physical death, if you find yourself in this situation waiting around for a loved one, you might want to go ahead and proceed to Focus 27 and start creating your little dream world while you wait. Final recap. Number one, as you saw there at the end, that some of these people have been trapped there for centuries. So you're welcome. Now, if you have anybody in your life, maybe a parent or a grandparent that's about ready to see the other side, you might want to send them this video to give them hope. Because if you're waiting around for Jesus to show up, you're going to be waiting for a long time. And the whole Bible was written in order to control you. Well, you realize probably will fall into the category of not truly knowing. Another thing that you heard was how the Monroe Institute would actually, when one of their subjects met someone who was lost and got their information, they would check it out, and sure enough, like you said, you were about 30 out of 30 where somebody that actually fit that description and died that way did show up either in a newspaper article. Now, for those of you that this did resonate with, if you'd like to see more, and these are actual tapes of his subjects who are talking with entities. Listening to them is very, very interesting, and there's plenty of them. I think there's about 12 of the tapes to listen to, and they're on YouTube for free. So, you know, if you want to see more about it, check them out. And who is this beauty, you ask? My wife of 22 years, Dana. Her and I will be traveling to Focus 27, probably not at the same time. By the time she gets there, I'll probably already have my golf course already designed and built. Nothing over 200 yards, all par 4s. Anyway, that wicked smart woman that you saw there, she, back in 2003, would not shut up until she convinced me who the parasites that were responsible for that actually were. Ever since then, proof that she made me watch really opened my eyes to this reality, and for that I will be forever grateful. The last thing I'm going to say is, what are the 2 most important things that you should have taken away from this video?
Get busy living or get busy dying. That's goddamn right.